Do you guys wear pants for the podcast?
No.
No, I don't either.
No.
I'm completely all natural down here.
Exactly.
Yep.
Hello and welcome back to the 56. Damn it, that would have been a great fucking opening, and I screwed it up. All right. Hello and welcome. Nope. James, give me one. Give me a take. Give me a take. It's okay. Give me a take. Okay. Hello and welcome back to the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, episode 59. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and joined, as always, by James St. Charles and the man who's always late, Ted Libby. James, I want to talk to you before I talk to Ted. I don't want to say hi to Ted yet. How you doing, James? It's been a while. It's been 2 weeks. How you feeling?
Doing good. Yeah. We've had like a Sidescape vacation.
Sidescapecation, yeah. Re-escaped.
Little Sidescape route.
Yeah, Sidescape route. I like it. All right, Ted, it's time to talk. Chug that beer and let's talk. I want to know something about you before we start this show. What the hell is behind you under wraps?
So this mess is a large pile. In that pile is my old TV.
Like CRT?
Uh-huh.
No, like my old. I got a new TV, and there's the box under there and a whole bunch of other stuff. The old TV stands in a pile. My life's a mess right now.
Where do you sleep?
Where are you gonna put the TV?
There's a pillow in your corner. Are you just laying on the
couch in
floor?
front of the TV? I don't understand.
Okay, that's
I don't
fine.
understand.
Wait, is the TV for the out? Where's that TV going?
TV's outside. TV's in the TV room. Come on.
What kind of TV did you buy?
What about the old TV?
I bought a 65-inch Sony X95J.
You didn't get a
Sony
QLED?
Bravia.
Nice.
QLED was too expensive for the size I wanted, so I got the next best thing.
Love it.
And this is with
everything.
your Dogecoin investment money.
Exactly. My AMC stocks. Everything bigger than 55 inches starts to get up into the thousands, plural, and OLEDs were just not doing it.
Yeah.
But
What's a good size? Is 65 like the best size? Like
65
depends on the room, I guess.
65 is too big.
I think 55 is pretty good. That's what I have.
55 is always like
65 is huge, and
I've
it's
seen
incredible.
75, and I was like,
but boys, there's a reason that this mess is over here. I chose to buy a TV from Amazon Fulfillment, which is Amazon's slightly used service.
Yeah.
Basically, I think if they nick it in the warehouse, they can't sell it properly, so they sell it at a discount.
Costco's kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was able to buy this multi-$1,000 TV for like a $700 discount.
Wow.
Which is very, very cool. Until we opened up the box and found out it didn't have legs.
Well, we lost Ted.
And that's it, you guys. It didn't have legs.
Thank you so
See
much,
you next
Ted.
time.
Well, you know what, James? Let's just jump into it, because this is the 59th episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, where every Monday morning a new episode goes live on YouTube.com, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Once a week, we Discord over 500 miles to talk about a video game-related topic. And today we're talking about Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart on PS5, and we're also talking about a lot of just stuff that's happened in the gaming industry that really focuses on Ted, so we kind of want him back in this show. If you like the show, remember to like, subscribe, share, do all of that jazz. So James, I want to talk to you first.
Yeah.
What have you been playing? We're just going to start here. What have you been playing? I'll text Ted and figure out what happened to him. We're doing the show. We're sticking with it.
It's been a while, so I had to look at my list and see what I played, what I got into. And I did try out this game that was released that I was kind of excited for, and I thought we could play, like me, you, Ted.
Okay.
And it was the Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance that came out free on.
Yeah, on Game Pass, right? Yep. And that's brand new, right? It came out this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not good at all.
That's what I've heard.
It's almost unplayable. Like, I started up and immediately the motion turning, I was motion sick.
Really?
It had this motion blur turning that was so bad that it just I could not play. And then from reading reviews, everything was bad with it.
Oh, I'm back. Hello.
You're back. Hey, we started with what you've been playing. We did not stop the show.
That's fine.
Yes.
So James is telling us about Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance?
Yes, Dark Alliance.
So it's a Diablo-like, right? Isn't it like Diablo?
Yeah,
no.
It's like I guess I don't know how to explain it. It's not like Diablo. It's more like Vermintide, but again, that's not how to play it, like third-person Vermintide. But
the original Dark Alliance was like a Diablo. It was like a Diablo for consoles. This one's more behind the back.
Yeah, it has like that Gears of War type view, but picture like if you turned, the world turns. Like it's like cyclical. Like I don't know how to I'd show you, and it's jarring. Like it is not fun to look at. That's and then weird. The experience, from what I'm seeing out the playstyle, it gets boring really fast, and it's not clean. It's very much they had this idea and it just did not come through.
it did not review well at all.
Yeah, it did not review well, and I'm glad I didn't have to pay anything for it.
It's the beauty of Xbox Game Pass.
That's the great. Like I tried it out, and you know what? Sometimes you get a game like this. You get a game that just doesn't come together. Maybe they'll work on it. I was reading that they're shutting down Magic Legends. That's another game that that's did not come together at all.
Huh.
So I don't know if they'll work on it, but you get a flop. It's gonna happen. You're not gonna just make a great game and then come release on Game Pass and it's gonna be great all the time. But
That's kind of the beauty. I mean, we talk about this to death, anyways. But that's the beauty of Game Pass now is like the ability to just try something.
Yeah.
We didn't have that before.
Yeah, so it was like you just demoed it. I basically demoed it, and definitely not for me. I know some people fought through it, but I'm not gonna fight through that.
Yeah, that's a pass for me. Then I'm not gonna try that out.
And then we talked about this before, but the crossplay with Overwatch that finally is out. I don't know if it's still in the beta state, but I've been playing Overwatch recently, and controller players have been playing and honestly, not seeing much difference. Like it seems like most of them can hold their own, or I don't know if they have some buff, but at least in terms of what they're playing, it's fine.
That's interesting.
So, the crossplay looks fine.
You can play Switch crossplay, so you can play like your little Switch 720p crossplay with everybody.
So it doesn't tell you what they're playing on; it just tells you like a symbol, like that they're playing on console.
Oh, okay.
And that you'll have like PC only or something like that. But yeah, if you have a controller player on your team, you can search for other controller players. But if you have PC players, it'll prioritize PC players. So
can you do like what you can do in Warzone, where you can just choose a PC only lobby still?
I think you cannot do that at all. It'll force you just like well, in Warzone you can uncheck it, but you'll like never find a game.
Right.
So, but there's no option to uncheck it. You'll always have the potential for like a controller person on your team or on the opponent's team.
Interesting.
So if you have a full team, it's like, hey, it benefits you. But
yeah, right.
But yeah, it's interesting. Again, all these implementations. Why so late? Like, why are they doing this now when you have Overwatch 2 around the corner?
Overwatch 2 is not around the corner.
Around the corner. around the corner. Yeah. I mean,
2024.
We'll maybe. I don't know. It seems they demoed some stuff, and boy, oh boy, it is not going to be fun when we're playing 5v5.
Just I don't know. Yeah. That's a weird game to make a sequel of.
Mainly those teams. Oh, also one more, which was I talked about this way long ago. Eternal Return, Black Survivor.
Yes.
Black Survival? Yeah,
something like that.
The Battle Royale MOBA?
I came back to it, and there's been a lot of characters released. They release like one character every 2 weeks. It's crazy how much they're like pumping out in that game. And came back, played my first game, won. So I felt great, and then I left it. It's like I got my taste. What a solo game, and I was like, I'm out of it.
What's the game I did that for, Ted? When I lived with you and Eric? I played some game, won it once, and never went back.
Didn't we do that with Apex Legends?
No, it wasn't Apex Legends. I don't know what it was.
Was it a BR?
No, it was some multiplayer game that Eric played a lot, and I played one game. And was it Dota?
It wasn't Dota. You
want to Dota?
It wasn't Dota. I don't know what it was. It was something, and I was like, I'm never going to play this again. I'm done. And it really pissed Eric off.
That's my games. Nothing really new. Too much except for Dark Alliance.
Ted, do you want to talk about what you've been playing now, or you want to jump into kind of our newsy segment and then come back?
Remember my legless TV from a long time ago? We just propped it up frat guy style, and it's a mess.
So you've been playing nothing.
It's just balancing. No, we've checking out the Xbox Series X on it.
Yeah,
it's very pretty. I've been playing just minutes of Forza, Resident Evil 7.
Yeah. Have you guys beaten that
Call
yet?
of Duty Warzone? No, we're probably not going to beat it. We came back to it and we're like, there's no decent quest log, so we are just lost. I have to find a passcode, and anyway.
I watched the end of that game. Look real stupid.
Yeah, enough people have told me it kind of falls off about halfway through.
Yeah.
That I was like, okay, but it looks dang beautiful.
You know what? Just speaking of Resident Evil, I am now that James talked about 8, and once that game goes on sale for like $40, I'm so excited to play that game. Everyone that I've heard talk about it loves it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so excited for it.
It's a video game.
Yeah. I am surprised how well like 8 came out and just like blew like Resident Evil's numbers, which that's a good thing because it's not even the style that like you and I we like the 2 and 3 kind of, and this is the off 7 kind of thing.
When they do 4 remake, that's gonna blow that shit out of the water. Yeah.
But enough about video games of the past.
Let's talk about video games of the future.
Resident Evil also had like another thing. They
you just ruined a perfectly good segue.
Hold on, I gotta talk about this. This is the scuffed show that we done. We had 10 disconnects, so let me have this. Speaking of Resident Evil, we gotta mention this. Dead by Daylight is one of the most popular like survival games like out there. Like it is the one. Like if you're looking for horror survival. And they just added Nemesis to like their killer list. That's like Resident Evil's like never done that before in their entire like this kind of partnership with a company like or with a game company like Dead by Daylight, like those devs.
Yeah.
They've done Saw. They've done almost all. They're gonna do all the big like horror.
Stranger Things has a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah.
And so they added Leon and they added Nemesis and I think there's one more. I can't quite remember, but it is quite good. And
that's awesome.
For that to happen, I mean, again, another benefit of Resident Evil series.
Yeah.
So they're just hitting it out of the park in terms of like where their branding is, what they're doing.
Capcom's had an amazing turnaround in the last like 5-10 years. It was really Monster Hunter World.
As soon as they stopped caring about Street Fighter.
Yeah. I was holding them back.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. All right, Ted. Are you ready for this? Let's talk about the games of the future.
Yeah. Good
Great segue. All right. Anyways,
that's perfect.
So I want to talk. We talked about 3 E3 press conferences last week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago.
3 E3.
3 E3. Well, we were past pre E3. We were mid E3.
We did pre E3 and we did like in between E3.
In between. So now we're just going to talk about Nintendo. We talked about Xbox. We talked about Ubisoft and Square and all that jazz. Capcom didn't show anything at their press conference that they did have.
Yep.
They showed 20
PC
minutes.
PC sucked as well.
PC was terrible. Apparently,
Game Team in there is like, hey, look at this other conference that we have.
Coke Media, however you want to say it. Apparently, it was like one of the worst.
I think it's Coke. Yeah,
it's Coke
Media.
It's Coke. It's the Koch brothers.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's their media company.
Oh dear.
And they had an E3 press conference. Apparently, it's like if you want to watch an hour of paint drying, that's what it is.
That sounds accurate.
Yeah. And what was the other press conference that we missed? Yeah, we missed one. We missed one other, but they didn't announce anything. But someone did announce a shit.
Take-Two's?
Take-Two, and it was all about Back
for
Blood. They didn't announce anything. It was just Back for Blood.
Yeah.
No GTA, no nothing.
Nintendo. They came. They saw. I think they conquered. They had a great E3 press conference for what Nintendo has been doing. Yeah. We needed it, and I think that it gave us a lot of like, cool. We're not getting a bunch of Mario games. I think that was perfect for what
you got. Mario Golf though, right?
Yeah, apparently that's real bad. That's like super empty.
You know, it's small. It's not bad. It's golf.
You
have
courses.
Six courses, $60.
Yeah, but it's very small, which seems to be the name of Nintendo's games nowadays.
Right. So the things that they announced that I think were the highlights, and anyone that watched the show, please jump in as well, but we could talk about them. They announced Metroid Dread, which is
yes, that's the highlight for me.
The next mainline Metroid game, closing out the Samus saga since Metroid on the NES, which I thought was really cool.
Waiting for the 5th game in the series for my entire life.
Wasn't this supposed to be a DS game?
Yes. So this game was Metroid Dread was announced in the mid 2000s for DS.
Wow.
And then it just disappeared, and now it's back. And it's a side-scrolling Metroid game. It's the first new side-scrolling Metroid game in forever.
19 years.
19 years, because Samus Returns, which came out in the 3DS, was a remake. So 19 years, you are perpetually followed by these like evil robots in the game. So they have kind of like a nemesis system. So that'll make your progress. But it is entirely a Metroidvania, going through, getting new items, attaching them, getting out. It looks fantastic. It looks like a Metroid of old. What do you guys think about Metroid Dread? I think that's the big thing to talk about here.
Deb, what do you think?
I'm cautiously optimistic, as I grew up with Metroid Fusion. That was my game in an era before I knew that it was the 4th game in a series. Like that was just, I grew up calling it Metroid Fusion. I thought that was the only game. That is one of my favorite games ever of all time. During the lockdown, I was able to get access to it via a roommate, and I beat it in one night. And I looked up and I realized it was 4:30 in the morning.
That's awesome.
That's the kind of game that's the kind of relationship I have with that game. If anyone's ever played that game, there are set piece moments where you are being chased by a big bad guy, kind of like
what this game
kind of like Dread, I guess, is or what this game is promoting, this idea that you're being followed a lot of the time. And I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
That being said, we've come a long way in the past 19 years for 2D Metroidvanias. We've seen some really good ones. We've all talked about some very good ones on this show.
Yeah.
Can the fathers of this genre or mothers, the parents of this genre, keep up with what the kids are making nowadays. Because, if you want a really solid game, Metroidvania, Hollow Knight. If you want freaking weird, wacky alien stuff, Axiom Verge.
Yeah.
So I kind of think that this game might fall a little flat just because everything else, the children of these games, are so good.
I'm in the same exact boat as you, Ted. Like, I'm stoked for it. I'm not the biggest Metroid fan, but I'm excited that a new Metroid's out, and I do want to play it, and I like Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
But I just don't, like, I'm very trying to write, cautiously optimistic is the great way to say it. Like, I'm pretty sure this is not going to be that great of a game. Like, I have that gut feeling of, like, it's going to be a 7 out of 10, which is going to be fine, whatever. But it, like, I just played Hollow Knight this year, like you said, which is, like, one of the great Metroidvanias, and, like, has all this lore hidden beneath it, and so much optional stuff, and it's like Metroid's probably not going to have that depth to it.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion the blueprint of Metroid Dread is still going to be that DS game from 2006, 5, whenever they were developing it. And we have just done so many cool things with video games since then.
Especially Metroidvanias.
Is this going to feel old or dated on its release date? Because it was conceived so long ago. Like, who knows?
Well, we'll find out this year.
Yeah, maybe they'll knock it out of the park. We'll find out.
Yeah.
The gameplay of it it struck me as really interesting. You could melee. There are a whole bunch of really unique Metroidvania-esque tools. But it also didn't strike me at all as scary.
No.
Which, as a 26 going on 27-year-old man, who am I talking about? Oh, this game didn't scare me. But we'll see how it goes. Metroid games have always had a heck of a tone.
I mean, the music and the environment really set the tone. And looking at it really looked, new. Like, kind of reminded me of like one of the newer like Mega Man games. Like, kind of like that style. I'm trying to remember which one. It was like the one that was like the off-brand Mega Man game that was
Mighty Number 9.
No, Mighty Number 9. That's what it reminded me of. Like, a little bit of that, which is worrying. But I don't know. To me, it's the music. It's kind of like the gameplay enemies. It could be good.
The Nintendo Treehouse that they did after the press conference, they showed actual like gameplay of Metroid Dread, and the environments looked really cool. Like they went into different environments that weren't just the like ship-esque looking room, which I thought was important that they didn't show in the trailer.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious.
I'm excited.
October is it? I
think it's October. Yes. I didn't write the dates down. I probably should have. Other things they announced, and stop me if you want me to stop. We can. Hey, I want to talk about this.
You know where I want you to stop.
Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2. Is that where you want me to stop, Ted? Because they're coming back.
No,
I don't care about Super Monkey Ball.
I didn't play. I like the speedruns though. The speedruns are fun to watch.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. It's just not for me. Ted, I know exactly where you want me to go, and I'm not going to go there yet. Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword still coming.
Oh god,
still coming.
Yeah. Hey, I'm happy they're doing it.
Motion control, baby.
It's not for me, but I'm happy they're doing it.
I mean, here's the thing. How dare you have a fucking console out and I can't play Ocarina of Time on it? How fucking dare you?
Exactly.
I can play any game on my Xbox right now that ever existed on Xbox. I can play Fusion Frenzy on my Xbox.
I love Fusion Frenzy.
It's fine. It's a fun game. It's fine. But I'm just saying, it's a very like niche game. And yet, Nintendo, I can't play your best game you've ever made. Get out of here. Fucking jerks. Anyways, sorry, my bad. They also talked about this game called Advance Wars. Is that what you want me to talk about, Ted? Advance Wars. They're bringing back 1 and 2 complete.
It's a Fire Emblem spinoff.
Yeah, it's a legendary game.
Ted, how happy are you? Because I'm ecstatic.
I'm very excited for this game. Sort of. I really like the first and the second one. Again, kind of that Game Boy Advance collection. I played Advance Wars 2 a lot. That game was passed around the car in field trips and at the lunchroom because of that local co-op.
Yep.
Advance Wars is a fantastic game through and through. It's really cool.
Yes.
Even to this day, as a tactics game, it stands up. You can go back and play it now and have a pretty solid, good time with it. And it is still challenging.
Yeah. And this is a complete remake of 1 and 2 together.
Yeah, so I am very happy for it. I would like to argue that the pixel art may look a little bit better than this 3D redesign that they've got going on.
They look like toys. It's like a toy-esque look.
They look like toys. Before with the pixel art, they kind of look like, I don't know, an 80s military fantasy.
Yeah.
everything was ridiculous and Top Gun inspired, and it was great.
It looked like Broforce. Remember Broforce? It kind of had like that Broforce-y vibe.
Yeah, it had a very. I mean, we can talk all night about a video game that takes hoorah fantasy and vicious murder,
right,
and war, and put them together in a fun, cutesy way. But this game. I did the research. Not announced if there's going to be online multiplayer. So this might be a just graphical reboot of the original, local co-op only, local split screen, I should say.
Wouldn't surprise me if that was the case because of Nintendo.
Yeah. So we will see. They kept the language very vague on all of that. So I would love to see a online multiplayer, and even that an online multiplayer community.
Yes.
Give me Advanced Wars esports.
Oh, if there's an Advanced Wars online, Ted, you and I are playing, and well put it on this podcast.
100%. That sounds amazing.
We'll grab some beers and just have some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very excited for Advanced Wars. I actually am kind of shocked that it's back. Mainly because it lost the battle to Fire Emblem. Like those were the two tactics, series that they had going, and literally Fire Emblem did so well on the 3DS. They just were like, all right, Advance Wars is dead. Publicly they were just like, we're done doing it. So for it to come back is really exciting, and they must be testing the waters if they can make this another franchise again, which is cool.
And it's the franchise itself has been mixed. I mean, the first two games were very hoorah, fun, happy-go-lucky characters in a wartime setting. It was very disjarring, especially post 9/11. And then the two games that came out on the DS were very dark and grim.
I don't think I ever played the DS ones.
No, nobody did.
Okay.
But they had a transitional game that was kind of like, ugh. And then they had like Day of Defeat or something, or Day of Sorrow. It was like super dark. And nobody liked it. Nobody wanted it.
Yeah, it's not what it is. Interesting.
So tonally, it's definitely going to be a little weird, but the gameplay is super fun.
Yeah, I'm stoked for it. And James, I know you don't have a Switch, but you should watch us play it sometime. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I've never played, and I heard like everyone was hyped about it, but I was just like, damn, I just never played it.
Yeah, it's the Nintendo way, man. Keep you away from their games. They weirdly didn't say anything about Animal Crossing, which I thought was really surprising that they didn't even mention like, we got this DLC pack coming out or whatever. I just thought that was kind of surprising for how much stock they
I want to see the number fall up on Animal Crossing. I bet it's a lot.
Yes.
There's probably still a sizable amount of people still playing, checking in on there.
But compared to what it was, man, that game was...
when it prime... That was prime launch time.
Yeah. Like, everyone's stuck inside.
Couldn't have planned it better.
Yeah. And then nothing else but Breath of the Wild really caught my eye specifically, but they announced a lot of games for this year. Some indies. They mentioned
there's a new WarioWare coming.
Oh, right.
That is great. Yeah. I love WarioWare.
Apparently they haven't had a WarioWare in a long time.
And I think it's a $40 title, if I'm not wrong. I believe.
I have no clue on that one. I believe it is speculated to be a 2-player co-op game.
That would make sense.
But we'll see.
You guys play WarioWare?
Yeah, I played the one on the Wii.
Game Boy Advance one. Where you
I was gonna say
the tilt controls and that was great.
I was never a fan of WarioWare.
Really?
Just say it.
Were you a fan of Wario Land? You ever play Wario Land?
No, I don't like that style. It's a little too wacky for me. I know.
Well, Ted, I got a question. Do you not like Wario?
No, I love Wario.
Okay,
he's great.
Thank God, he's great. He farts.
I was gonna say he farts and
yeah, he's got a motorcycle.
No, Wario was great, and I have come to enjoy that theme. But growing up, I never liked the theme, and then I came back to it in the beginning of college, thinking it was going to be a Mario Party title, like a co-op mini game, and it's not. It's a single player micro game.
Yeah,
I think they call it micro game. Yeah. And I bounced off of it again. So
the Wii one,
except for those people who are looking forward to it.
Yeah, the Wii one had some multiplayer that was really fun. A lot of pass the controller, like you play a game, pass the controller, and whoever has it last loses or whatever.
They're fun. Like they're kind of unique. What you can do with them.
I'm excited for it. I hope I can convince Maddie to try out some dumb mini games. We'll see.
They're just like action games.
Good luck.
Come on.
It's like the style of WarioWare has always been like a potty humor style without the potty humor. It's just a weird mix.
That's me, Ted.
It's Japanese humor, the game.
Yeah. And then another thing they announced that wasn't Breath of the Wild related is a new Super Mario Party, or a Mario Party, but it's basically like a generational collection with a bunch of maps from the original all the way to now.
Beautiful.
And they were a little unclear if rules from Super Mario Party are carrying over or if it's just traditional Mario Party. Super Mario Party, everybody had their own dice that they could use, like a specialty dice, and you could get companions. So it's a little unclear there, but it looks like a pretty expansive collection compared to how small Super Mario Party was.
If it's so is it like all encompassing? Like, could I choose to only play like Mario Party 4 maps? Is it just everything?
It's incredibly unclear.
Yeah.
It would be so
one
great
thing
they
we
did
can
that,
say across the board about Nintendo's announcements is they were all very vague.
Yes. And speaking of vague, Ted, they announced a game that they're aiming to come out next year.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild 2. Still no title.
Cool.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah. I wanted to talk a little bit about this just for me personally because I have a lot to say. I'm very excited for it. I'm not concerned that this game, they're going to release it when it's ready. I'm wondering if it's really gearing up for the Switch Pro and that's going to come out next year, if that is a thing. And they're kind of waiting to tell a release date until then. I also think it's really fucking dumb that there's no title. I think that's like
at this stage.
Yeah, Ted froze, I think. So it's just you and me again.
I think he's deep in thought.
He's deep in thought. He's really thinking about Breath of the Wild too.
Yeah.
But I just think it's crazy that there's not a title. I think I actually texted you this after the show, and I was like, Breath of the Wild 2 might be 2022, and there's no title.
I think you said that you could guess the title. Do you want to put it on video, or do you?
I think I have two ideas. I think they're gonna keep the name pretty similar, and I think it's gonna be called either Breath of Time or Winds of the Wild.
I like Winds of the Wild.
I think it's going to be one of those. I think they're going to try to keep the name pretty similar because it is a like direct sequel, like Majora's Mask and stuff.
Yeah.
Do
you think it has that kind of like Ocarina of Time kind of aspect to it? Like in terms.
Yeah, I think there's
how they go through time.
There's something there because there's stuff in the trailer where like Link's haircut is different lengths, or whoever this other person is, it's probably Link with different length hair. He does like, I don't know if you've probably watched the trailer. He boots, he like boots into like a sky area, but he like goes through the ceiling, and it almost looks like he's maybe reversing through. Ted's back. Hey, welcome to join us.
Welcome back, Ted.
Thank God for SD cards and NVMe drives.
You getting blue screened?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna hurt your Warzone performance later.
I think it's too hot.
Oh.
Maybe.
My baby's overheating.
That's okay. We'll keep moving on, and Ted, when you just drop in, drop out. It's like a drop in, drop out co-op game.
You know, we'll get someone else. You're on the line.
Before we talk about kind of future stuff, I just want to go through some fun stats here. I looked up the YouTube view numbers for all the press conferences. The Nintendo Direct had the most views with 26 million views. Xbox and Bethesda had 14.4 million. Summer Games Fest Kickoff was 9.7. Ubisoft Forward was 5.1 million. Square Enix was 3.2. And the PC Gaming Show was 2.5. So those were your top 6 kind of viewed, which I just thought was kind of crazy how little Ubisoft had compared to like Nintendo. 21 million difference was kind of crazy.
And Nintendo was like midweek too. Like
it was a Tuesday.
Kind of Xbox was prime.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
I thought that was kind of interesting. And then according to Twitter, these are the most discussed games at E3 were Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Elden Ring, Battlefield 2042, which I thought was kind of crazy. That was the third most talked about game. That's a good sign for that game.
That
game. The internet is very excited about that game.
I am too. I'm curious. I'm excited to see it. Halo Infinite, and then Forza Horizon 4. Slurred on that one.
All those Horza fans.
All those Horza fans. Jesus. Do you think that's what they call themselves? Horzas?
Yeah, like they call themselves Horzas.
Yeah, Gunner's such a Horza.
Yep.
Okay. So I want to talk really briefly. We know that EA is going to have a press conference in July 22nd. And Sony's probably going to have a press conference, I would assume, around that time. But I just want to let's talk about E3 or EA a little bit with E3 and their press conference. What do you expect to see other than Battlefield there? Anything? I mean, Dragon Age is probably going to be their big game, but I would.
If Snoop Dogg doesn't smoke weed at this event, I will be displeased.
Has he done that in the past?
Oh yeah, the Battlefield 1 celebrity reveal trailer, where he talked about having a special weapon, and then there's just a cut to him like smoking weed as he's playing Battlefield 1. Oh, it's fantastic.
Did you know this is not about games? This is about Snoop Dogg.
I don't know how they allowed it.
So during the NBA playoffs, they had last year they had like the video wall and like where you could pay to like watch the game on the screen.
Yeah, I remember that.
Snoop Dogg was on one and he was watching his team, and he at one point just has the biggest like joint ever, and he's smoking it on the thing, and they cut his feed because it was on like ESPN, and you could see Snoop Dogg just like smoking this fat joint, and so like ESPN like cut him from the video, and then like he later had to like apologize because he's like, I didn't realize like I was on live TV, and like that's
Oh my
legal
God.
where I'm in, but like probably not around the world. Like it was super funny. Like he had to like come out with this like very formal apology to the NBA and ESPN.
Aw,
That's so good.
good old Snoop Dogg.
Ah,
Anyway, it was a great E3 or EA press conference. I hope they attain that same level of perfection.
they won't.
They always have something interesting, but I actually think they're gonna go a different direction this time. I think they're gonna go with like the Xbox route, where they're gonna promote EA Play
Hmm.
because that's really great.
A lot of
Yeah.
people
They
have it now.
Well, what EA's doing, because EA is putting EA Play on Steam. Like you can use your EA Play through
Mhm.
Steam, and then they have their games through Steam. Apex you can now just launch on Steam and
Oh,
without
interesting.
even having your Origin open.
That's
So
not true. You
It's true.
still need Origin installed and running in the background. I run into this problem constantly.
if you launch through Steam,
No, okay. I'm using.
I've definitely-
yeah, or the Xbox Game Pass requires Origin to still be running in the background. It's a
yeah.
huge pain in
No,
the butt.
so for
He's talking about
Steam
Apex.
Apex, you just need to have a Origin account. You don't even need to
Yeah.
have Origin open.
Huh.
So it just logs
If
in.
they could
boom.
make that happen for all their other games, that would be swell.
I don't know why just Apex has that, but anyways, like Ubisoft has that problem where you have to launch the separate client, and that's people are they're very adamant about having so many clients to launch. That's why Epic Game Store is like a problem for gamers.
Yeah.
But to
a
me,
problem
I think
for gamers, really good for developers, but
yeah, it's
I
a
gotta
problem.
click 2 buttons on my PC. What am I gonna do?
I can't handle it. Too many applications. But EA Play is really great because that's what we were using to play like It Takes Two or something
Mhm.
like that. That was $10. I
Yeah.
had to play like a $60 new release. So I think Xbox Game Pass needs a competitor. EA is not really being a competitor. They're actually
They're
joined.
joining in, yeah.
So we're not seeing too much competition, but I think EA is going to have a big conference where they're going to talk about like all the stuff you could play, like day one EA Play or something like that.
That'd be interesting. I would like
So,
to kind of see
We'll,
that in marketing.
we'll see. Yeah, it's funny.
that's
EA's
Yeah.
back catalog hasn't really aged very well.
Nah.
Not necessarily. Like, do
There's
you guys want
not
to
too
go back and
much.
play it? Would you pay monthly to play an old Need for Speed game?
Yeah, it's like you could play Star
Um,
Wars, you could play like Battlefront, like that's
You could.
yeah.
They have a lot of multiplayer shooters that you could play.
kind of dead.
Mhm.
That are all kind of sort of dead and struggling for player bases. They're promoting this brand new big heavy hitter of a Battlefield game. They will not promote their other large multiplayer games in the meantime.
If I can get EA Play and like play the new Battlefield, that's a win for me.
I
Like if that's
doubt that's going to be the case.
that was the case for It Takes Two. Like at day
Yeah,
one, you could play it.
it's true.
So
I just-
if you could day one some of their EA titles,
Is Battlefield 2042, is that $70 on PC?
I don't know.
I do
Let
not
me-
know.
Can someone
Wait,
Google
find
that
out.
for me? Because it's $70 on console.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious where it's coming in at on
Uh,
PC. Because
Historically, PC has always stayed a little bit behind the
$60.
times.
Okay.
Yeah, there
$60.
was a time when PC games were $50
Yeah.
when Xbox 360 games were 60.
Yeah, I know consoles are moving to 70, and then I think eventually
PC will
PC
come
will
up.
probably move to 70.
Yeah, PC will
but
as well.
for now, they're still 60.
Trying to think of some big PC games that released at 60,
Yeah.
and it's tough.
yeah,
Also,
Um,
like we don't talk about too much, but like 70 is actually a fair price for developers considering like what goes into a game nowadays.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, there's a lot of people who like do not like that you have to pay $10, and they don't, I think, understand like how much technology has gone in terms of what goes into a game.
well, I think that I would agree with. I also think, just on a side note, people get really pissed when you ask for more money about anything.
True.
And
But-
like I always think about the Disney Plus like thing what they do with movies. We're like, okay, you pay $8 or $9 for Disney Plus, right? And then
And
they
you get a nice
release a brand new movie that they would put in theaters that you would go see in theaters for $15 a piece or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's $30, and people like lose their fucking minds that Disney's the most evil company. I'm like, if you sell this movie with another person, it pays for itself and you own it on Disney Plus. Like, I don't get why you're like freaking
I
out.
do that with my sister because
Yeah.
we have like a family kind of Disney Plus, and then she'll pay the $30 to the movie, and I'll watch it. Like I watched Nuke Cruella. Interesting.
Oh yeah, I haven't
Have you
seen
seen
it.
Luca? Luca just came out, and
No, I
that
haven't
was just
seen it.
on Prime. Like I mean,
Yeah, it
on
was just on
Disney
there.
Plus. Like you just got it, and a great Pixar movie that just you got. That you definitely you're paying like $12-15 if you went to go see it in theater.
Yeah, yeah. And I think
already
people
pays
are
for
freaking
itself.
out about that.
That's yeah.
70 is going to become the new norm very quickly, I think.
It should be honestly, especially
Okay.
for these AAA.
Let's let's do one thing before we talk about Ratchet and Clank. I just want to talk about Sony for a second.
Oh,
or do you have more EA plus stuff?
Yeah, supposedly the new Dead Space reboot will be. Will be part of this. They are talking about remaking a older IP, bringing something from the Vault, the EA Vault.
But they don't have the original studio, so people were talking like fearful that it's like gonna be a
Virtual Entertainment. Yeah,
it's gonna be like a
apparently that company was tasked with making Battlefield Hardline when EA realized they could make a story.
Yeah.
Well, Visceral was the developer.
Visceral, that's the one.
Yeah, and they were making that Star Wars game, the Project Ragtag with Amy Hennig, and then they just fucking canceled it out of nowhere. Yeah. Oh, that game would have been good.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm curious. I really think EA needs new blood.
I would agree.
I'm over like Battlefield looks very cool, but EA has been rocking the same 2 to 3 franchises for the past. It feels like 5 years for the second half of the 2010s here.
So you want some new IP?
I do. I'm over don't get me wrong, I like a good Need for Speed, but I'm over the yearly Need for Speeds. Madden's not doing it for me personally. Give me something new. Give me more Jedi Fallen Order. Give me something kind of that we've never seen before.
We know we're getting that, but I don't know if they're going to talk about it.
I would not be shocked if there was a trailer for that, for Jedi Fallen Order 2, whatever it's called. I think just to be like, we got it. And I think, as my prediction said, we're going to see Boba Fett or Darth Maul. And then I think you're going to get a big blowout on Battlefield. Like they're going to play a multiplayer game during the show or something.
With Snoop Dogg and Zac Efron.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
150 player lobbies? I don't know. How many players are there?
128.
128.
And I was reading something about that game. It's if they can't fill a lobby, it's bots, which is kind of cool.
That's fine.
Yeah. And like that kind of mode, that's cool.
I hate bots.
Whatever, Ted. You just don't like robots. Different thing.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about Sony real quick.
All right, let's talk about so Sony did something very interesting yesterday.
Cool. Let's talk about Ratchet and Clank.
All right. They bought Housemarque, which Housemarque developed Returnal, and they've developed a bunch of other games, but really Returnal, I think, was their big coming out party to console audiences. So they bought them, which is very exciting. I think it proved that I think Returnal did pretty well for them. They definitely, I would assume, made a profit off that game. And you really saw what Housemarque was able to do when given time and money. So I'm pretty excited to see where this studio goes.
I think Sony is reacting to Xbox, Microsoft, whatever. They've been buying a lot of people and been promoting a whole bunch of first-party exclusives, like Fallout and The Elder Scrolls. And I think large companies like Sony especially is like, okay, we need to really double down on this first-party exclusive business. Because
so many first parties.
Yeah, well, who knows? Like for all we know, there was some talks about Housemarque being bought by Microsoft. Like it's a very real possibility. And they were like, nope, we're not doing that. We're going to buy you and make you a first-party exclusive because your game's a hit right now on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So
I would expect to see more of this.
So before they basically they have like a contract with Sony to make a game.
Yeah. So
and now they are actually
they're
a
owned.
Sony. What a Sony game studio is that? What you?
Yes, they'll be part of Sony Game Studios.
Do they still retain their name?
Yes. So they still say Housemarque, and they're actually going to be, from what the press conference was,
like a Sony Game Studio.
Yeah, they're going to operate as Housemarque, the same kind of management team and everything.
That's a great thing.
Yeah, and they just have the security of being with Sony.
It's like Santa Monica Studios. Kind of.
Yeah, like Naughty Dog or any of them. And then the weird thing, though, that happened, which now indicates that they probably bought another studio, was Sony Japan put up a thing that said, congratulations, Bluepoint.
Yeah.
And they didn't say Housemarque. They said and they had a whole graphic made up with Bluepoint's logo and everything.
Did they ever announce that they bought Bluepoint?
No. So that just kind of went under, they just deleted the post.
I wish they buy Bluepoint because they're doing some great stuff.
Apologies. Bluepoint makes?
Bluepoint is like a remake studio.
Okay.
And they made some PC port stuff too.
Yeah, we've talked about them. They made the ports to Horizon and Days Gone.
They did the Days Gone. They actually outsourced the Horizon port, which is not as good, but they actually did the Days Gone, which got really well received.
And they just made Demon Souls for PS5. That was Bluepoint, and so they remake a bunch of stuff. So they're a great developer. Cool. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sony bought them and we're going to see a bunch of stuff from them. So my dream is that they'll make another too early. Solid.
So maybe at the end of the month they announce it. I don't know.
It was just very odd that they put up the wrong studio. Yeah. So I would not be shocked if we saw that in the future. Okay. Drum roll. Are we ready to talk about the PlayStation 5 exclusive Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart is, like I said, a PS5 exclusive. It's not on PS4. It's not cross-gen like Horizon or any of that stuff's going to be. And it is it's a good game. Is it lighting my life on fire? No. It's I beat it. It probably beat it in about 10 hours. It moves at a clip. It's got a lot of fun young characters. Sorry, I thought the cat was doing something.
I've heard that it moves at such a clip, like not in a like it's a fast-paced game, but in like we're living in the future. Like there are no load times. There's no real.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get to where you're going because the game itself is fine. What you're doing is fine. It's fun. It's Ratchet. You hold down R and you move around and you switch weapons, and that's the game. I would actually say the weapon selection from this Ratchet and Clank game is one of the weakest that I've played. Usually they have a lot of fun stuff. That being said, this game, just like Astrobot's Playroom was when PS5 first launched, is so technically impressive. It makes me so excited to see like what the fuck's Naughty Dog gonna do with this PS5. This game, like Ted was saying, there are no load times. This game just boots up like Returnal did. It just boots up into the game. But not only that, like how smooth stuff is, like when you're loading. So the whole game is basically based around a system of like rifts. Like the two worlds are colliding and like two universes. And there are these like rifts throughout the levels. And you can latch onto the rifts and like pull yourself into them. And the game is just like loading you to that spot, like instantaneously. And it's like just so impressive where you're like, I'm here and now I'm here. And like there was no hitching or anything. And everything is so seamless. Motorcycle on my end. But then the other thing that I think was, I mean, the littlest of details that was so cool is you have a ship, and how you get from level to level is you jump into your ship and like pick your course. You literally like hop into it with the X button. You hop into it, you seamlessly, the thing opens, you sit down, loads into the map. It's like so fluid. It never felt jarring, which I was like just so impressed with like how this game loaded and used systems. It's beautiful. I mean, the ray tracing is just. I mean, it looks like we were talking about Luca. It looks like a Pixar movie. The textures are there. All the time. It is. It's got the kiddie charm and whatever, and it is very much that store that is geared for kids. And I wouldn't say like any moment was like this is great, but like technically what this game is doing is on a whole other level. How quickly stuff switches in and out. How many different particles are on the screen. How many different weapons you can utilize at once and turrets that you can throw and stuff. And you can have 20 things happening and the game never chugs.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I thought that was a very cool gameplay thing is you're given like 23 different weapons and you're supposed to be mixing and mashing them throughout the single fight, throwing down turrets, throwing down this, that, and the other, tossing grenades, and it all just flows together in a super fun way.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is where this game shines is like when you're in this big arena fighting a boss and 400 minions, it's like this is freaking awesome.
How are the controls? Like, do they have the like haptic feedback?
Yeah, so I wasn't as impressed with the haptic feedback as I have been. That's been kind of whenever I've talked about a PS5 game here, it's like this haptic like feedback. Returnal, like it's changing the game. It wasn't as much there, but it's definitely the vibration is better than it just like something shaking, right? Like there is improvements to how vibrations handled, but it's not anything that's like really revolutionary. Yeah, not with like Returnal where I'm feeling like heartbeats and like steps and rain
that'd be so like great.
It's so I can't wait for you to try it. It's so cool. But I definitely like would recommend you play Ratchet as a tech demo. I think is like showcasing what the PS5 can do if that's kind of where you want to go. Like I don't regret buying it or anything, but like $70 for it is I think kind of a steep price.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a $70 full game. But it is so technically impressive from like kind of just wanting to see what this machine can do. It's really cool. It's such a step up from PS4. It's like crazy. Just how quickly and seamless this game moves.
Nice. How's the story?
Story's fine. There's two characters that you play as. You play as Ratchet and you also play as Rivet. And Rivet is another Lombax from her dimension. And she also gets a robot companion. And the new characters are fun. I would say, I don't know how much you know about Ratchet and Clank, but there's a character, Captain Quark, who's like their version of like a superhero, but he's like also kind of evil sometimes and an idiot. He is like
Zap Brannigan character.
Yeah. He is not in this game at all, and it's like kind of sad. He's in like a scene and a half, and I was like, he's like your golden ticket. Like, you got to use this guy more because he's hilarious.
Yeah.
The humor, I would say, kind of lackluster, though. James and Ted would really love this. There is an alien species that are these little like rodent hamster looking people, but they have Minnesota accents. And so they're like, oh, don't you know? Yeah, okay, you come over here, River. We're gonna show you what is over here. And it's like just like the whole species talks like that, and I was like, this is so funny.
Yeah, bud.
So the comedy's good, though I would say that the story itself, like I said, moves really quickly and rapidly to a point that like kind of by the end you're just like, yeah, let's just get this over with. And so much so the story moves so quickly that I beat the final boss, and then Maddie and I had to go out to dinner or like breakfast or something. Paused it, like put it in rest mode, walked away. I was like, I'll watch the ending cutscene when I get back. I came back, sat down, like got ready to watch an ending cutscene, turned the game on. They had 3 lines and the game ended. And I was like, oh. And Maddie was like, are you just watching the credits? And I was like, I kind of like thought I was gonna watch more, so I feel like I wish I had to like sit here. But yeah, I would definitely say like I am not as impressed with the weapon layout or the like creative design of Ratchet and Clank as I think these games have been a little more creative in the past. But technically, this game is really impressive.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think right now we're, at least for Sony, we'll be in an era of tech demo-y type things, of just make it look as good as possible. We'll stress test it after the fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Returnal is I mean, I really wish Returnal everyone could play because it's genuinely like this fantastic game. But this is definitely like, let's just show them what we can do. You know, we're the guys who made Spider-Man. We'll do another one of these.
I think this game will be a pack-in, and that's not a demotion or anything.
PS5s.
Yeah, you'll start seeing Ratchet and Clank bundles throughout the lifespan of the PS5, and that's great. This seems like a great pack-in.
And it's a great, dude, if you had kids, this game would be perfect. Like, this is a great kids game.
Right.
It's hard to go from Returnal, which is such a gameplay experience, to then Ratchet, and you're like, I'm going to hold down R the whole time, and it's going to be fun. So I do think, like, there is some little gap there, but I do recommend it. I mean, it is a really fun tech demo, and, like, just what this thing can do, and, man, get ready for games running purely on an SSD. It's going to change
So
stuff.
what's next, then?
For Sony exclusives?
Yeah.
I believe it's Horizon, right? Isn't that...
Wow.
Well, no, so I guess there are some second party stuff, like Kenna Bridge of Spirits is that one like animated movie looking game, which looks really cool.
Looks good.
I believe that's PS5 exclusive. I don't think it's on PC. So I believe that's the next kind of big exclusive. But Horizon and God of War, we know they're coming to PS4 as well though, so it's not going to be running on like solely SSD stuff, so it'll be a little different.
I don't know how that works, because like to me it's so different, because when we talk about the PS5 SSD, it basically you're skipping a lot of like your CPU and RAM work, and it's just going straight from SSD to game, like what you're seeing. Yeah. So it's like instantaneous. You can't do that with PS4, and it goes to like a different thing. But I guess the architecture is similar enough to where it's not as noticeable. Like, I just want to.
It must be where like they're basically putting in loads, right? Like for the PS4 version, that would be my guess.
See, I'm not to say like we know Horizon can run on PS4, like we've seen it, it's great. So I just want to know how much better it's going to be with PS5. Like,
right?
Can you are we just getting like a PS4 Pro type game, or are we getting this is Horizon on PS5? It looks great.
I would assume it's a PS5 game made for PS4. That would be my guess. Yeah. And I only say that for one reason. Every time they talk about the haptic feedback in the controllers, they really talk about pulling a bowstring back. Yeah. And this is their bow game. So like I would assume that's PS5.
That's fine.
You know?
So it's like if that's how it is, that's great. At least someone on PS4 can still like enjoy it. Yeah. But damn, I wish I had a PS5. Because it's like
it's gonna get good soon. Also just a cool note that's not about Ratchet and Clank in particular, but haptic feedback is being added into some games. So I mentioned
I heard about that.
Yeah, Plague Tale Innocence. I don't know if I said this on the podcast or beforehand, but
you said
beforehand. So it's coming to PS Plus next week. It's gonna be, I haven't played it, I'm very excited. It's gonna be up-resed it's a PS5 version of it. Xbox is also getting it, but they're adding in haptic feedback controls and haptic vibration.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
I'm happy. I hope we one day see a world in which haptic feedback, I don't know if that's the actual term, Super Rumble, HD Rumble, I think is what we should call it.
No, that's what the Switch calls it.
Is just a standard. You know what I mean? Like I was having a discussion with my roommates about how we might one day see an Xbox controller that is like Xbox Standard, Xbox Elite, and like Xbox Theatrical or something. Because I hope this stuff permeates and becomes kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
James was talking about, does the haptic feedback work if you plug the PS5 controller into a PC? I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I've been hearing that it can, but it has to, like, from what I'm, it's just like pure rumor, but a developer would have to go in and modify their game heavily to get it to work. So what would probably happen is the developer is going to release a PS5 game, and eventually it's going to go to PC, and that's just way easier.
Well, let's see with Plague Till Innocence. That might be a good place to start.
I'm going to have to take a look and see if it's possible, because to me right now, it's a no-brainer to get a PS5 controller just if you have a PC and like you want a good controller, because it is probably the best controller.
I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a nice weight to it too that the Xbox One doesn't have. But
I mean, the Xbox controller it's basically the same as the past one, just a little bit like different,
pretty
right?
much the same, yeah.
The Elite controller is the controller, which is $150, something like that. So it's I don't know why.
I'd get on those Elite controllers though. They're nice.
Yeah, I would too if I had the money.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, they don't sell them anymore either.
Well, they do
have
the
an Elite 2.
They don't sell them anymore. Yeah, they're probably gearing up for a 3. They're all out of stock.
Dang.
I've looked.
They have custom controllers, though, right? Can you get like? But those aren't Elite.
The design lab.
No, the design lab is back, which is very cool. But they are not Elite. That is just standard.
Yeah, they announced that in their little treehouse event. It's not called an Xbox Treehouse. It's whatever it is. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the 59th episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Jake. That's James. That's Ted. And we will see you next week.
I'm going to disconnect for effect.